Heyo!
Hello!
Howdy!
How are you?
This is a Fantasy Chairmen podcast, and I am Ben.
And I'm Alex.
And we are Ben and Alex of the Fantasy Chairmen podcast.
And we're here for another podcast on another Thursday night football night.
It is a Thursday night football night, and the Colts and the Titans are playing.
Yes, they are. So and I hope you started Deontay Foreman because he's got a touchdown.
I definitely started Deontay Foreman. I completely forgot Deontay Foreman was a person.
I didn't even know he was signed anywhere.
I had no clues whatsoever.
Impressive.
So, Deontay Foreman, receiving touchdown.
That was
he's on the Titans, by the way.
Yeah, if you didn't know.
Because I did not know.
From the 5-yard line, so kind of a shin kicker for Derrick Henry owners. That's a bummer.
My shins. That hurts. That does. It sucks. Deontay Foreman. Vulture.
But suck it up, people. Lots of game left.
That's right. A whole lot of game left. We're just in the first quarter watching this. You already know what happened because you're listening to this the day after.
Mm-hmm.
So congrats to you. We don't know the future, but you do. Anyway, we've got some news.
We do have some news.
We've got some playoffs looming trade strategy for you. Might be the trade deadline in a lot of leagues this week.
Yeah.
A lot of leagues are set for Week 10 trade deadlines. So, little trade strategy with playoffs on the horizons.
Yep. Something to be thinking about.
Yes. We'll jackpot review. I think we did pretty well on our jackpot matchup this last week.
I think we did as well. It kind of looked a little scary in the first half. Like one side looked good, but then
it picked up.
Real quick.
And then we'll speed preview, give you our jackpot matchup for Week 10, and we'll go into Hot Prop and Lock It, and then we'll get out of here.
Sounds good to me.
All right.
Let's do it.
Is that Jonathan Taylor?
No, it's Naheem.
Nope, that's Naheem Hines. Nope. Naheem Hines busting off a good run.
Colts backfield, man. Ooh, that's a scary gambit to play.
And high hopes for Jonathan Taylor, and it just has not quite come to fruition.
I heard this comparison the other day, and it scared me.
Don't you say it. Don't say it. You do not say his name.
You know who I'm talking about?
Yeah, I think so.
Who am I talking about?
I can't say his name.
You could say his name.
No, I can't. He's like the unnameable. Does it rhyme with Bant Mitchardson?
Yeah. Why, yeah, it does.
Oh, man.
I heard that comparison. I forget what podcast I listened to
Make
it on.
me sick.
They said that the stuff that they're seeing is eerily similar to what Trent Richardson started doing. And they said it is horrifying.
I've seen that but it's been getting tossed around out there. Oh my gosh. For sure, and it scares me.
That is
scares
scary.
me. I don't want Jonathan Taylor to suffer that same fate.
No, neither do I. I want to see him.
Come on.
I want to see him thrive in this thing behind this offensive line, stalwart.
Oh, come on.
Let's get into some news and notes.
Let's get into the news and notes.
And now it's time for your NFL news.
All right. Well, first little bit of news here, just nothing big, but CMC's hurt again.
No! Why have you forsaken us? What have we done to deserve this punishment?
So apparently on the one of the last plays of the game, CMC tweaked his shoulder, came out for a play, came back in, and stretched for the goal line and landed on his shoulder and further hurt his shoulder. I don't know which one. I think it's the left shoulder, if I remember correctly, but just hurt it even further. And now he's going to miss this game. Had to go get a second opinion.
Yep.
Which Matthew Berry brought up an excellent point the other day on a podcast. When you get good news, you don't go for a second opinion. You say, well, that sounds great to me.
I don't know, man.
So he is deemed out for this week. and they're saying that he possibly could return next week. But man, terrible luck for CMC this year.
So you got me caught up here. But sometimes the news is just too good. You got to go double check to make sure that it's actually real.
I mean,
You know, if I won the lottery, I'd probably be asking several people are those the real numbers?
why would you tell that? Why would you tell them? That's more likely people know that you won $1 million.
If I'm sitting here like watching football with
There's
like,
one person
with like
that I would go to reassure. Oh, okay. Well, with me and you,
with
okay,
like
all
you
right.
and like the rest of like the fantasy chairman group.
Yeah, but
If
you're
we're
not going to
sitting
ask.
there and I see that I'm like, hey, is that? And then I get a second opinion from the next person over, like, is that really what it says? And then I'd show somebody else. It's not true. No, I'm not going to run around town and do it.
Yeah. But
Anyway.
if you go to the doctor and you say, my knee really is not feeling great, or you had an injury happen and you just want to make sure everything looks good, and the doctor looks at it, says, yeah, it looks good. Are you going to say, I'm going to go to another doctor?
Well, I get maybe if it doesn't feel right. Does this guy know what he's talking about?
Anyways, point being, typically,
Speaking of lottery, this is the wrong lottery to win. This
Yeah.
is the hurt
this is
lottery.
a hurt lottery, people.
You don't want to win the hurt lottery.
So as of right now, all we know is CMC out for this week.
Considered
And
week to week. Although the second opinion that he received sounds like it's better that he has a chance to play next week.
That's what we're hearing. So keep your
Keep your ears peeled.
keep your ears peeled and your tabs open on that one. All right.
That's-
So
exactly.
more news to come later on next week.
That's it.
A bit of good news here. Nick Chubb back at practice. I saw yesterday he practiced with the knee brace on, and then today an update came through. He was practicing with the knee brace off. So that's good stuff.
I'd pull a little bit of Beelzebub from Tenacious D real quick. And
Oh yeah.
with the news of Nick Chubb coming back into practice. I am complete!
Well, unfortunately, you still got a lot of other holes to fill on your lineup. But yeah, I mean, that's better.
Well, depends on what league we're talking about.
Oh,
Either way.
man.
I am complete!
So,
Finally!
Nick Chubb possibly going to be back this week. It's looking pretty good. So, Nick Chubb owners rejoice.
Get me back on track, buddy.
Please. Another running back that's been out with injury that's back to practice, Miles Sanders, looking like he might have a chance to return this week. So, that's good stuff.
Let's get these running backs back.
I know. Kenyon Drake, this was kind of surprising. Limited in practice the last 2 days. So,
Yeah,
Possibly-
thought he was going to be out a little longer.
the extent
sure.
of what we heard of the injuries sounded a lot more severe than apparently it was. So we'll see. We'll see if he comes back and plays this week. But if he does play this week, you'd have to assume that he's going to be limited in some form or another.
I would think so. But definitely hurts Chase Edmonds if he does play,
It does.
even if he is limited.
Next bit of news, another running back. Actually, these next few bits are all running backs. Joe Mixon rehabbing on the side of the practice field, not practicing with the team yet. So it doesn't look like Joe Mixon's going to play. And this is after a bye week.
Yeah, not good.
2 weeks off, 2 weeks out before the bye week, and now he's still not practicing. So
Yeah, what's
something's
been
going on.
Yeah, what's been going on there?
How did he not get put on IR?
I don't know. Unless they really just had no idea like how bad it actually was, which doesn't make sense to me.
You'd have to have
You're an NFL franchise.
You'd have to have an idea of it somehow within the first week or two. Like, dang, this is
Like,
not going.
This is going to be a more than 3 week thing.
Yeah.
Which at this point, it's been more than a 3 week thing.
Gee,
Could have been on the IR.
could have brought in another player onto your roster, but I guess not.
Could have helped fantasy managers out and had that IR designation to put him down there so you have another roster spot. But no, it's fine. It's fine. Just keep him there and list him as questionable every week. That's lovely.
Chris Carson also still not practicing, so man,
Oh, no.
they need him back. We need Carson back.
Coming from the resident Seahawk fan.
We need you back, Chris. Please
Also
come back.
coming from a Chris Carson owner in many leagues. Please, Chris.
Please come back.
My God.
Oh.
I have had the worst running back luck.
Tell me about it. Tell me
Man,
about it.
it's awful.
David Johnson and David Montgomery, both in the concussion protocol this week. Neither of them are practicing, so it's not looking good for either of them currently at this moment. So start your Duke Johnson if David Johnson's out, and then
Revenge game.
Ooh, it is.
Going
and
up
then
against the Browns.
if David Montgomery's out, Ryan Nall.
Oh, the wrecking Nall. Fire them chainsaws.
OSU alum.
It's a
Wrecking
Oregon
Nall.
State Beaver takeover. Jake Luton coming out looking like a boss. Ryan wrecking Nall.
Man.
Getting in the end zone this last week. Let's go Beavs.
So keep an eye on those guys, but it's not looking good for David Johnson. David Montgomery's a Monday night game, so if you're still not seeing any good news on Saturday, I would look to pivot from David Montgomery. Or unless you have Ryan Nall on your team, then that's something that you can substitute in really quick. But you don't want to be stuck Monday night with a David Montgomery being ruled out and you don't have a pivot. So
Pick up the wrecking Nall.
if he's available, maybe.
You know who I miss?
Who?
Jaquiz Rogers, man.
I do
That
miss-
guy.
That guy's a little lightning bug.
Oh, man.
Little 5'6" lightning bug.
Oh, Quizzy.
Next, last bit of news right here. These are two wide receiver injury news bulletin points here. Jerry Jeudy has a shoulder injury, which I didn't hear about until today, apparently.
Tell me about it, man.
So Jerry Jeudy
Tell
had
me
a big
about it.
week last week, went off.
And now a shoulder injury.
Now his shoulder. I told you need to put some meat on his bones. He hurt himself.
I just, as a Broncos fan, my soul just breaks. Piece of me just falls off every week because we just constantly
Tank
are
for
hearing
Trevor. Tank for Trevor.
Nobody's beating the Jets out for Trevor at this point. And that's sad for Trevor.
Oh, man. All right, and the last bit of news, Allen Robinson has a knee injury that he's tending to, but he's had some limited practice in so far, but keep an eye on that. That's another Monday night injury that you need to watch and be able to have a backup plan if you are planning on playing Allen Robinson. And that's all I got for news and notes.
That's it for the news and notes. I like it. Well, let's get into a little trade strategy.
Trade strat.
All right, trade strategy time.
Trade strategy time. So a lot of you guys have more than likely have trade deadlines coming up. Typically, you normally see them between weeks 10, 11, and 12 a lot of the time. So
Yep, a lot of preset or like settings. Just the standard settings in leagues are week 10 for the trade deadline, which is this week. This week, meaning you got about 3 more days to make trades.
So we kind of wanted to give you guys our personal strategies, depending on what kind of team that you are coming down to these trade deadlines. So first one I'm going to throw to you, Ben, is a playoff-bound team. So this is a team that's maybe just got a couple of losses. They're pretty much a lock for the playoffs, and they're sitting pretty, and they could probably lose out the rest of the way, and they'll still make it to the playoffs. But their team's looking pretty all right. Yeah, we'll just give the hypothetical. Team's looking pretty all right. Obviously, they've won a bunch of games.
Right. I'm 7-2.
So what kind of moves would you make as a 7-2 team to maybe bolster yourself for into the playoffs?
Putting up good points every week. Something that I would be looking at is just probably looking at schedules of a lot of players. And if I've got, somebody that's got what looks to be a pretty difficult playoff schedule coming up, then I might look to move those pieces for either a lateral type of move for somebody with a better playoff schedule, or potentially even, depending on what my depth looked like too, potentially even a package deal for, not even like, I don't know that I would even say like a tier down, but somebody that just, like if you could do, so Dalvin Cook's got a pretty terrible playoff schedule, right? Whereas Derrick Henry in the playoffs, I believe in the playoff weeks has a pretty good schedule, if I remember correctly. But from what's been happening right now, if you look from Dalvin Cook to Derrick Henry, you look at like maybe a tier down from Dalvin Cook to Derrick Henry.
Okay.
You know, not like a full tier, but maybe just like a step below or whatever. If you could get Derrick Henry and then maybe another piece for depth or even something usable, or like maybe like, I don't know, a usable tight end if you're struggling at the tight end position or something, then I would probably try to do something like that.
Are you trying to acquire depth or big-time pieces for the playoff run?
Well, if I can, I'm trying to acquire big-time pieces, but big-time pieces with good playoff schedules if I can. So I may look to move like one of my studs for another stud with a better schedule. Something along those lines. But you know, one thing I'm doing pretty much regardless of where I'm at, of wherever my team is at, is like I'm always trying to package and upgrade in spots. Like that's always just my go-to thing, is I want to try to package together pieces and upgrade at a position if I can.
Even in a COVID year where depth is probably one of the most important years in recent history where depth is probably key, especially, I mean, with the player doesn't even have to have COVID. Like, look at Jamal Williams, what happened to him. He was a close contact and got ruled out for a game.
Oh, I know.
Which he probably would have received another start if,
I know.
And
well, that's why I'm saying, so like, that's why I was talking about potentially moving like a step downward and getting maybe like a package deal. And the first one that came to mind was just like a Dalvin Cook for a Derrick Henry plus, so that you still maintain a superstar in Derrick Henry with a good schedule coming up, and then you get plus maybe a little depth. Like, even if you got like Derrick Henry and a solid handcuff somewhere or something.
Okay, I could agree with that.
Something along those lines, but you know,
I would not. I mean, unless you're trying to vie for win. I mean, which you're not. You're a playoff bound team. So
right.
We'll get to that later on.
Exactly.
So, no, I like that. You're looking ahead at strength of schedules. You're looking ahead to maybe further bolster your lineup and make sure that you're ready to go. And if disaster strikes on your team, you're going to be able to put some other pieces in to at least be, playable and not just have to put in, somebody like
anybody on my team.
Yeah. So
anybody on my League of Origin team. So
that would be our advice. Those are kind of some good strategies, some good moves there. How about for the next one? Oh, you got it.
Oh, I was just gonna say, you're obviously not like breaking the likes of like Dalvin Cook up into like 3 substantially smaller pieces or anything like that. Like, don't do that now.
Yeah, it's
got to do that.
It's got to make sense. Like, don't blow that up.
If you're moving somebody like that, you're moving for somebody that is essentially a lateral move, potentially just one step down, plus something else, and that other piece that's the step down has to have a better playoff schedule. Mm-hmm. Otherwise, you're not moving that piece.
Agreed.
Right?
and I mean, and make sure you're getting these players as well that have, they're kind of few and far between, but they have solid workloads like a Dalvin Cook. You're not going into like a timeshare somewhere.
Right.
Regardless of what their schedule is, I want the workload versus the timeshare, especially a Dalvin Cook. Like, I mean, I'm not going to trade a Dalvin Cook for a Clyde Edwards-Helaire and, I don't know, what would a handcuff be?
Well, right now you're not trading a Dalvin Cook for a Clyde Edwards-Helaire and DJ Moore.
Yeah, no, I wouldn't do that.
Like,
I mean, if I already do Clyde Edwards-Helaire, I'd have to do like a Dalvin Cook for Clyde Edwards-Helaire and like maybe an AJ Brown, or maybe like
you're getting
something in that line.
Yeah, you're getting a stud, man. Yeah. Exactly. Something like that. You've got to get somebody up in that top tier to go along with it. But there's very few things that I would trade Dalvin Cook for right now.
Currently.
So, that's just where my mind went.
All right, next playoff team. We're not playoff. Well, maybe not. This next team is the fringe playoff team. They're like barely on like the cut line, or maybe just barely over the top of the playoff cut line, or maybe on the outside looking in,
like a 4-5-ish team right now,
like a 4-5. Maybe a 5-5, or no, 4-5 or 6-5,
5-4 or 4-5,
5-4 or 4-5,
even a 3-6,
potentially. I was told there would be no math.
I throw too many numbers at Alex, and the steam starts to roll out of his ears.
A 4-5 or a 5-4 team, maybe even a 3-6 team, somewhere in there, kind of fringe. What are some moves that you're doing with a fringe team? Are you looking to bolster? Are you doing lateral moves? Are you really paying a whole lot of attention to strength of schedule in the playoffs? Me personally, I'm just trying to make sure I get a couple more wins so I can.
I was going to say, you're in this position in the League of Origin.
I am. I'm a 4-5 team right now, and I'll tell you exactly what I'm doing right now. I actually have my bench right now. I have a lot of backup running backs that are going to be in a position to potentially be starting this week, and I'm going to try to see if I can package maybe one of those guys to try and upgrade at a spot later on that might benefit me next week.
Upgrade, man.
Next week or the week after that. But I'm also trying to. I want to put myself in the best position to win this week. I need to win this week. I need to win next week as well. So I can't afford to let another loss hit and then be that much further back behind the pack.
If you got trade deadline this week, you're sitting in this position. I think right now you're trying to, like you said, if you've got those pieces that are going to probably be usable, again, you want to be looking at playoff schedules and who's kind of got some soft matchups coming up over the next few weeks, and probably even earlier, not even so much in the playoff schedule, but if you're on that fringe of I need to make the playoffs first.
That's what you worry about first,
you got
is making
deadline,
the playoffs. You
start looking at that schedule between now and week 13, and you start looking at that soft schedule now.
Yeah.
And you try, if you've got those backups that are those handcuffs that are potentially going to be playing this week, then like you said, you're trying to package them with maybe a guy that's been doing well and try to upgrade somewhere for one of those guys that has a good schedule in the next week 10 to 13 in there so that you can make the playoffs.
Exactly.
So because you can't make any more moves after this if your deadline's week 10.
Yep.
So
I
would say you just play week to week and you try to trade week to week, but that's earlier on. Now it's okay. I got to find that guy that's got that good run of schedule in the next 3 weeks.
I need someone to push me over the top, and it's a position where I'm considering, cutting some of my depth to acquire that last little piece that might push me over the top of some of these other teams that I'm going to be playing. Which, If I could, I would like to keep as much depth as I can, but I might not have that luxury right now, especially sitting at 4-5, which is kind of almost outside looking in for the playoff run.
In a lot of leagues, yeah. It depends on your size of league and how many teams get in the playoffs and things like that. But typically, in 10 to 12 team leagues, it's usually that 7-6 is what makes it.
If you can get to 7 wins, typically you have a pretty darn good chance of making the playoffs.
And and that's if you're allowing anywhere from 4 to 6 teams in the playoffs. Mm-hmm. But it's that's about where you got to get.
So there's some moves. So I'll give you an example. So I've currently on my bench right now, I've got Giovanni Bernard, I've got Duke Johnson. I also have, in my starting lineup, I've got Chase Edmonds, and I also have J.D. McKissick. So one of those guys, I could probably maybe try to package this week along with another piece that I might have, or maybe even in my starting lineup to try and acquire an even better starting piece.
Yeah.
And that might just push me over the edge.
Exactly.
And give me that much more of an advantage. Now, it can come back to bite me in the butt. Mm-hmm. And that piece that I get might not help me at all, whereas those other two pieces could continue to be excellent depth or even keep their role of what they got this week. So
yep. If you're sitting at the 4-5, and you need pretty much about 3 more wins to be on that playoff edge to get in, I would say you don't want to mortgage off all of your depth.
No.
But if you can do that where you can package like one piece of depth that'll be good with another good player to upgrade a position, like again, we talked about with a soft schedule, weeks 10 to 13, then you want to try and do that. Now, if you're down at like 3-6,
which is real outside looking in,
or 2-7.
Oh, well, hang on a minute. Can't get that far.
Oh, so I'm just
player profile.
I'm leading us into the next one. Don't worry about it.
Well, we'll jump right into it. And this last team
that's a segue, Alex.
Segue into our last type of team coming into the trade deadline, and this is the living on a prayer team. You probably need to win out the rest of the way to make the playoffs, or to even have a chance at the playoffs. So you're sitting at 3-6, 2-7. If you're sitting at 1-8, I'm sorry, that's probably not going to happen.
I'll give you my strategy for that. Don't worry about that.
It's probably not going to happen for you. But for those 2-7, 3-6 teams, like we said, you're living on a prayer right now. You need to win out. You got to win every single game. So Ben, what's your strategy? What are you doing if you need to win every single game?
I'm selling out all my depth at this point, trying to package and just get whatever, any kind of like superstar or stud that I possibly can. I'm trying to package just about everything together to get those good players. Again, if you can get the good matchups over the next 3 to 4 weeks, from week 10 to week 13, you want to look at that. And if you can somehow manage to package something together to get one of those guys, I'm packaging potentially 3 people together to try and get one good stud if I can.
It might be kind of tough
I'm
because
selling out.
You'd have to think that these 3-6, 2-7 teams, they don't have players performing on their team, so it's going to be hard to try and sell that.
So this is just shotgun method. You just start sending out offers like crazy, and hopefully, one just sticks, and you get a piece that you're like, yes, this is going to help me win the next few weeks. And you just got to go crazy with it and just try to sell out like crazy, though, right now.
And if
that's
you're
all
trying
you
to
can do.
If you're trying to look to make big moves, another tip that I would say is look for players that would benefit from the move. Don't just go to somebody, you don't go to the top team in the league and say, hey, I'd like to have Alvin Kamara. I've got 3 pieces I want to trade you, That's not going to happen. Look for the teams that have needs. Look for teams that maybe you have a number of pieces in. So somebody that's going to lose Christian McCaffrey doesn't have Mike Davis. Maybe you have quite a few running backs that might be able to help that person at least, get through the next few weeks without Christian McCaffrey. Maybe they might be prone to a deal. Yep. Look for somebody that's going to be hit with bye weeks later on in the season here that might get hit hard with bye weeks, that can't afford to have a loss. So
that's it.
Yeah.
That's it. If you're 1-8 like me in the League of Origin,
there's a 1-8 team here. This is what the 1-8 team.
I'll tell you exactly what my strategy is here, Alex. I'm just wrecking dreams.
Dream wrecking.
I'm not even looking at the playoffs at this point. All I'm trying to do is just stick it to somebody else in the league right now.
What was the term you used for me? Because I asked if you would be interested in a trade, and I think the term you used or you gave to me was, nah, man, I'm just going to burn.
This captain's going down with the ship.
That one of the last few scenes of the Titanic, where the captain, he's in there and the water's surrounding him.
Yep.
That's Ben.
The band's playing the violin. I'm just sitting in the... That's me right now.
But Ben also wants to turn into like Ghost Rider and just wreck the souls of other people's teams.
Absolutely. Just hold them up against the wall. Guilty.
Just stare into their souls.
Stare into their souls. Until there's nothing left.
Dream wrecking.
That's all I'm out here to do now. My motivation has changed.
Goodness, if you started Nyheim Hines, you're going to be happy. Looks like he just scored a touchdown here in the second quarter of this game.
He got a whole lot of passes on that drive.
And he just had a whole lot of runs, too.
He was catching the ball like crazy right there. Nyheim Hines just scored. 7:49 left in the second quarter. Thursday Night Football. Congrats to the Nyheim Hines owners that started him.
That's a pretty good start to the week right there.
I'm sure I'm going up against several people that started Nyheim Hines.
Did you look?
Just saying. No, but anyway, if you're 1-8, go slay some giants. Go wreck some dreams. Go ghost ride some people.
Go
Because
ghost ride.
that's what we're out here to do. I'm getting Nick Chubb back this week, and he's going to help me do it.
He's going to be your ghost rider.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. Live and die by him this year. It's going to happen.
I like it.
All right. Well, it's time to speed preview it.
Speed preview.
Speed preview it is. And last week there, Alex, we did our jackpot matchup was the Buffalo Bills versus the Seattle Seahawks.
Oh, yeah.
Buffalo Bills versus the Seattle Seahawks. And what was our final score in that game here? 44-34. Buffalo Bills over the Seattle Seahawks. I'm sorry, your precious Seahawks lost, Alex.
Man, they came out flat. They got hit in the mouth and they couldn't really recover. That sucked to watch. I mean,
Josh Allen came out just on fire.
I heard Sean McDermott's presser afterwards, and apparently they said they'd made a decision from the get-go. They just weren't going to run. They were just going to throw because they knew how garbage Seattle's secondary was.
That's what I like to hear from an NFL head coach.
And they just threw it. And then listening to Pete Carroll's presser afterwards, he said by about the time, he's like, it was about the second, like midway through the second series of the Bills, we realized they're not going to run. They're just going to throw it. So it was too late at that point, apparently. They were already in too big of a hole. So,
yep. It's brutal.
It sucks.
No,
I mean, I love as much as I love watching Russ cook. It's not fun to watch your defense get scorched, giving up a historical amount of yardage and points.
It was insane. But it led to a pretty good jackpot matchup.
It did. 78 points. That's
78 total points. 44-34. Josh Allen.
I think that was high score of the week.
Oh, it absolutely was.
Yeah.
Josh Allen threw for 415 yards, 3 touchdowns, 7 carries for 14 yards, and 1 touchdown.
Dude, I faced him, and I survived.
Congrats to you.
I was sitting there watching it, just cringing every time, like, oh, and he's not even my Stephon Diggs buffer. It helped a little bit, but there were all those touchdowns. Not a one went to Diggs. I was like, oh, no.
I know. And speaking of Diggs, went 9 receptions, 118 yards. Gabriel Davis, 4 receptions, 70 yards, a touchdown.
Yeah.
John Brown, 8 receptions, 99 yards. Isaiah McKenzie had 1 reception, 25-yard touchdown. Tyler Kroft, 1 reception, 1 yard, 1 touchdown.
16 points from Diggs, 15 from Davis, 13 from Brown.
Saw half point
PPR scoring here, so pretty good. And even
and then you said
the kickers had good days.
Yes, they did.
Bass had 14 points. Myers had 12.
And even though they didn't run, like really hardly at all, I mean, Zach Moss still got you 11.8 points, 9 carries, 18 yards, 1 touchdown, 2 receptions for 30 yards.
DJ Dallas got you 10.
Yeah, hey, you said the Seahawks came out flat, but Russell Wilson still gets you 22.1 points.
Yep. Josh Allen, like we said, 36 points. DK Metcalf gets you 20 points.
20.3.
7 catches on 9 targets for 108 yards and a teeter.
Yeah. David Moore
caught a deep bomb. 4 catches on 6 targets for 71 yards and a touchdown. He got you 15. Tyler Lockett.
Disappointing from Lockett here. 4 for 40, but... 6 points. Unfortunately, you're hoping for more from Lockett there, but...
Even Bills' defense, 15 points.
Just wild, I know. So that was a score fest. We love to see it.
I wonder how many times this season we've capitalized and had good jackpot matchups with the Seahawks. We should just keep rolling.
Honestly, that's what I'm thinking is just about any time you see the Seahawks or the Bills... It's
fired up.
The Seahawks and the Bills.
Fired up.
And that's good stuff. But now, Alex, it is time for our speed preview. All right, Alex. Go ahead and take it away with the first matchup on the slate here.
All right. Well, our first matchup is the Thursday night game here.
Yeah.
We got Colts at the Titans, and currently it is 10-10 with 7:38 left to go in the second quarter. We have a touchdown from
Deonta Foreman. Nyheim Hines.
We all saw that coming. And then Nyheim Hines, which, I mean, man, the Colts running backs is a scary thing. I mean, there's people talking that Jordan Wilkins is going to be possibly taking lead duties away from Jonathan Taylor, who has underperformed recently, but Nyheim Hines can go for these blow-up games every now and again. There's no telling when you can, and this looks like it might be one of those games right now. I mean, currently, looking at the score right now, Nyheim Hines has 12 points. That's pretty good with 6:56 to go in the second.
It's not bad at all.
Not bad
at all.
So, I mean, you were starting like Derrick Henry, A.J. Brown. You might have pivoted away if you had a better matchup than Ryan Tannehill.
Yeah, the Colts defense has been pretty darn solid.
Kind of been sticklers.
So I would not have blamed anybody for pivoting away from Tannehill in this one, depending on what your other option was. But yeah, so far, kind of not doing too hot so far.
Not so hot. So
that's all right. All right, next matchup we got here is the Texans and the Browns, and this was in consideration for Jackpot Matchup of the Week, but I'm not going to hit the slots here because there's talk of a very windy game here in Cleveland. So you may want to temper expectations for all your pass catchers and your quarterbacks in this one. I know the matchups on both sides look juicy. Obviously, you're starting Deshaun Watson if you got him. Baker Mayfield, I mean, if you can check and you see that the winds are actually going to die down and, be maybe around that 10 mile per hour range, somewhere in there, then you can probably feel better about throwing Baker in as a streaming candidate. But you're starting Will Fuller, you're starting Brandon Cooks, you're starting Deshaun Watson, you're starting Duke Johnson if David Johnson does not go from his concussion. Revenge game for Duke Johnson here. And then on the Browns side, if Nick Chubb is activated and he's playing, you're starting him up. You're starting Kareem Hunt up because we saw what Kareem Hunt did with Nick Chubb in the lineup. Both were top 10 running backs.
Oh, yeah.
Like I said, Baker Mayfield's streaming candidate if the winds died down. I'm deciding between him and Drew Lock in my Dynasty League, and currently I'm starting Drew Lock over him.
Okay.
But the pass catchers there, again, I'm probably staying away from Browns pass catchers unless I see those winds die down. Then you can think about Rashard Higgins in the flex. Austin Hooper, you could probably feel okay about. He got pretty heavily targeted before he got injured. Actually, before he had the appendectomy.
Which, no Odell Beckham. I bet Hooper gets quite a bit of targets.
Yeah, that's what I'm thinking. So
just because, and we'll say just real quick, just because there is some potential wins that could be at this game, don't get cute with it. Don't bench these guys that have been, killing it for you this season so far. So,
yep, exactly. All right, next one.
Next matchup, we got the Washington football team against the Detroit Lions. Washington football team side, outside of Terry McLaurin, who's a lock that you're starting every week, there isn't a whole lot really. I mean, maybe Logan Thomas if you're tight end needy. Antonio Gibson and J.D. McKissick.
That's what I was going to say. I think you can feel actually pretty good about McKissick and Gibson here.
Gibson was slated with the shoulder injury, but he just practiced full today.
Yeah, so they said they're not worried about him.
Rivera said that they're not too worried about him, but Alex Smith is now going to be the quarterback, the starting quarterback, with Kyle Allen going out with a gruesome ankle injury this last week, which, man, it looked rough. But they are predicting that J.D. McKissick could get a lot of work actually with check down passes. So, you might actually be able to start him in a flex with confidence potentially. So, it's something to keep an eye on. On Lions side of the ball, Kenny Galladay's still not practicing, so I would keep him out. T.J. Hawkinson, he sat out practice for some reason today, which I'm not really sure why. I didn't see an injury.
It was a toe injury.
Toe injury, okay.
Yeah, a toe injury after he practiced fully on Wednesday. So that's a little nerve-wracking.
Definitely
if you're
nerve-wracking.
a Hawkinson owner, especially in a week where Travis Kelce's on a bye. George Kittle's out now. Mm-hmm. Man, scary.
Running backs, the only Lions running back that I'm really feeling safe with is DeAndre Swift. And then outside of that, like Marvin Jones, man, he could go off for 3 touchdowns in a game like this, but at the same time, he could goose egg you. So I'm not really if I have a better option, I'm going somewhere else other than Marvin.
For sure. All right. Picking it up here, we got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers going up against the Carolina Panthers. Tempering expectations for all the Panthers. I know we just saw the Buccaneers get blown out by the Saints. They got embarrassed there in the was that the Monday night game? Sunday night game. But the Buccaneers still have a solid defense, so kind of tempering expectations here. I'm really nervous about DJ Moore, but almost feels like you just kind of have to start him in a flex position because he's always capable of those big plays.
He is.
I think you got to ride the fire of Curtis Samuel right now. Yep. In a flex spot, and then Robbie Anderson. You're starting Robbie Anderson, and then Mike Davis, starting Mike Davis. Christian McCaffrey will be out, and then Teddy Bridgewater. If I have a better option, I'm gonna want to pivot to somebody else. Tom Brady. I think Tom Brady comes out pissed off. And
I think so as well.
And lighting the world on fire. He's going to have Chris Godwin, Mike Evans, and Antonio Brown to throw to. You're starting all 3 of those guys, but don't be surprised if you get hurt by one of them. So all risky, but all starts. And then Rob Gronkowski, you're starting. And between the running backs there, I'm starting Ronald Jones. This is a cushion matchup for the running backs here. So I'm probably flexing Fournette, starting Ronald Jones, but not feeling completely great about it.
I would probably start Fournette and maybe think about flexing Ronald Jones at this point.
Well, yeah, either way.
Fournette's getting the most work right now. Jones is outside looking in.
Let's just flex both. Next one.
All right, we got Eagles at the Giants. On the Eagles side of the ball, if Miles Sanders is playing, hallelujah, start him up.
Woo!
Fire him up. Alshon Jeffrey may have a chance to play in this game. I would wait and see with him, but Travis Fulgham, I would still play him. I mean, until you see something happen different with Travis Fulgham, I'm still going to feel confident with him. So start up Fulgham. Dallas Goedert, he had the bye week to get a little bit more healthy. I think you can start him in the tight end position pretty confidently as well. I'm sure with Wentz getting back into the groove with him, they're going to be looking for each other in the end zone quite a bit.
Oh, yeah.
On the other side of the ball, in the Giants, man, outside of like Sterling Shepard, there ain't a whole lot. Maybe Evan Ingram if you need a tight end.
I think you got to start Evan Ingram if you have him.
Mm-hmm. Man, the running backs, if you're running back needy, Devontae Freeman looks like he had a little ankle injury in practice, like tweaked his past injury that held him out last week. So might be another Wayne Gallman week possibly. Keep an eye on that.
Yeah.
And then, if you're looking for a dart throw, there's Darius Slayton, Golden Tate. I don't know if he's going to play or not. That's tough to decide.
I think Golden Tate's going to play this week, but I'm staying away from him, even if he does.
You're not starting Daniel Jones, and I would consider Carson Wentz going up against the Giants defense.
Oh yeah,
especially with all these weapons.
He might not be looking good in real football, but he's getting it done for fantasy.
That's true.
Start Carson Wentz. All right, next one we got Jacksonville Jaguars going up against the Green Bay Packers. Jake Luton firing the chainsaw. Bing, 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 bing. Probably not starting Jake Luton here.
No.
DJ Chark, we saw him get the bomb touchdown from Luton last week, and he got how many receptions did he end up with? 3 or 4? Was it
something like that? Yeah.
He got pretty well targeted though, so I think you're flexing DJ Chark in this one. Other than that, pass catchers for the Jaguars, I'm probably staying away if I can. But James Robinson, you're starting him up there, especially against the Packers' run defense.
Oh, yeah.
That'll be a smash start. Packers side of the ball, obviously, Aaron Rodgers Aaron Jones, I think Aaron Jones is going to be good to play this week, right?
Should be.
I think so.
Should be.
So Aaron Jones, Aaron Rodgers, Devontae Adams, you're starting all them up. The Jaguars are fairly weak against tight ends, so you could consider Tunyon there. But
Jamal Williams might be a flex play as well, especially if the Packers get up really quickly.
That's very true. Could be giving it to Jamal after that. So, all right, that'll do it for that one. Next
one, we got the Bills at the Cardinals.
It's a jackpot!
Oh, boy.
Hey, we said it before. If you see the Seahawks or the Bills, we might just start riding it.
Jackpot time, baby.
Cardinals
jackpot
and Bills.
time.
Jackpot matchup of the week.
Oh, man. So this is a big-time game. We think there could be a lot of points scored. On the Bills side of the ball, you're firing up Josh Allen, Stephon Diggs. Heck, fire up revenge game, John Brown.
Oh, yeah. Smokey. Smoke him if you got him.
Smoke him if you got him. Zach Moss and Devin Singletary. I would probably flex. I'd probably feel more confident with Moss than I would Singletary personally. I would flex Singletary if I could, if you don't have a better option. So
I'm flexing Moss, but probably staying away from Singletary in this one.
On the Cardinals side of the ball, Kyler Murray, that's a no-brainer. DeAndre Hopkins, for sure.
Yes.
Chase Edmonds, as long as
Kenyon
Drake is out, you can feel confident with that. But even if Kenyon Drake does start, I think you could still start Chase Edmonds as well. If Drake does come back, I don't think they're going to give him the full workload right off the bat.
Right.
I think they'll try to ease him in. And I'd honestly be surprised if he played this week. We'll see.
Yeah.
If the Cardinals have playoff aspirations, I would assume they'd want to try and preserve him and make sure he doesn't re-aggravate that injury.
Yep, keep him healthy.
Christian Kirk, he's had 2 stellar games in a row. Fire him up as well.
Ride the fire.
Ride that fire.
It's been three
good
weeks in a row for Christian Kirk, man. He's been tearing it up.
3 good weeks. I like it.
Yeah, ride that fire. Christian Kirk, baby.
Outside of that, I'm not really starting the tight end for the Cardinals.
Nah, probably not.
That's probably about it.
I think
maybe
that's
Larry
it
Fitz
there.
if you need a stretch. If you need some help in the flex, maybe Larry Fitzgerald could be an option.
Could just rack up some receptions in this
Larry
one.
Legend.
We're expecting high-scoring affair here. Jackpot matchup of the week. Bills versus the Cardinals. Next matchup we got here is the Los Angeles Chargers versus the Miami Dolphins. You see a battle of 2 highly drafted rookie quarterbacks here. Justin Herbert going up against Tua Tagovailoa. I'm firing up Justin Herbert.
Oh, yeah.
For sure. The Dolphins' defense
I will
actually
say
has been pretty good.
This could actually be a tricky matchup for them. Dolphins' defense is very underrated. They've been playing well.
Yes, that's for sure. But at this point, you're starting Justin Herbert. You're starting Keenan Allen. Start Hunter Henry.
Starting Mike Williams?
Yeah, I'm flexing Mike Williams.
He got some good looks. He had...
Xavier Howard's probably going to be over on Keenan Allen. Mike Williams, he gets those deep bombs.
I watched him pretty hard last week because I started him, and he had 2 touchdown opportunities that could have made it a real good week.
Yeah, you're flexing Mike Williams. You're feeling pretty good about it. And then on the... for the running backs, it sounds like Justin Jackson's probably not going to play.
Anthony Lynn said that they were going to try and rest Justin Jackson. I don't know if that means for the week and then play him in the game or what it is.
I thought they were talking about in practice, but I'm going to assume that he's going to be out this week. So Josh Kelly, probably flex, and then Kalen Ballage. He got work last week.
He did. And then Troy Maine Pope could be another possibility. Man, it's kind of scary. It's kind of scary.
If you could take just a dart throw flex on any of those guys.
Austin Eckler, please come back.
Please. Tua, the Chargers actually give up pretty good points to the quarterback here. So Tua, you might feel pretty good about, depending on your quarterback situation there. Devontae Parker, probably going to get shadowed by Casey Hayward, but firing Devontae Parker up in this one. Sneaky guy you were talking about, Jakeem Grant, with Preston Williams being out. Jakeem Grant actually pretty good target share last week. Could be sneaky in this
Sneaky
one
play.
with Hayward over on Parker. And then running back position there.
Matt Breida was held out last week with a hamstring injury, but it looks like he got a limited practice in today. So, man, but it's a I don't know. It's between Matt Breida, Patrick Laird, Jordan Howard, and then there was another guy like Savon Ahmed or something like that.
Yeah, Savon Ahmed, And I think they activated Lynn Bowden Jr.
Man,
today too. So
Myles Gaskin, please come back.
If I can, I'm staying away from the Dolphins' backfield. Gesicki at tight end dart throw. I mean, if you got Gesicki on your team, you're probably starting him unless you've got a better, more reliable option there. Next one,
we got Broncos at the Raiders. Little AFC West showdown.
Oh, yeah.
Broncos side of the
Go
ball.
Broncos.
As long as Jerry Jeudy's healthy, I'm starting up Jerry Jeudy. I think Tim Patrick might make it back this week as well. He's another name you could consider. Melvin Gordon and Phillip Lindsay, I think those are both possible running back options that you could start. I mean, if you have better options, I might consider a better option potentially.
Running back landscape, you probably
More than likely you don't.
Don't.
But other than that, I think that's about it. Drew Lock, you might be able to flex if you think this is going to be a shootout. Or not flex, but
If Drew Lock could just give us more than the fourth quarter, man, he'd be the QB1.
I know.
Every week.
Oh man, it takes a quarter.
If he would just play more than one quarter a game. It's always that fourth quarter.
On Raiders' side of the ball, you're firing up Darren Waller. That guy's is a week in, week out starter. Josh Jacobs, as long as he's healthy. I did see he was dealing with a knee and illness designation last week, but he played this last Sunday, so I'm guessing he's by it. Wide receivers, Henry Ruggs, kind of a dart throw, but I mean, he only needs one play.
Yeah, he's a one-touch man. I started Ruggs this last week. I was disappointed.
Didn't work. Should have started Aguilar.
Yes.
He's also a one-touch guy for the most part. I mean, he's getting bombs. So
that's what it's looking like.
But that's probably about it, really.
I think so. All right, next one. We've got Seattle Seahawks going up against the Los Angeles Rams. NFC West matchup here. And little rematch between these two. Firing up Russell Wilson, firing up DK Metcalf, firing up Tyler Lockett. If Chris Carson plays, you are playing Chris Carson. But keep an eye on it.
Yeah, keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on it.
If he doesn't play...
Is Carlos Hyde playing?
I don't know. I haven't heard any news about Carlos Hyde lately.
That's another backfield you just gotta watch closely.
It would be another mixture of DJ Dallas and Travis Homer.
Yep. Be ready on Sunday morning to pivot to those guys. And, DJ Dallas could be a flex option for you if Carlos Hyde and Chris Carson don't go. Mm-hmm. On the Rams side of the ball, fire up all wide receivers. All of them. Fire up Jared Goff and all the wide receivers.
There you go. Cooper Kupp, Robert Woods, Josh Reynolds.
Sounds like Darrell Henderson is healthy again. Should be in this matchup.
He was held out of practice again, but Sean McVay was confident that he'll play this week. I would want to see him practice. He was dealing with a quad injury and came back from the bye week, 2 non-practices in a row. That's usually not a good sign, but keep an eye on it. So if he doesn't play, Malcolm Brown or Cam Akers, anybody?
I guess.
Headache. Another headache backfield.
Seriously, they're all over the place, man.
Mm-hmm.
Tough to guess. Gerald Everett could take a flyer at tight end, but
possibly Higbee.
I guess.
Who really knows between the tight ends?
Higbee, man.
They have 2 great tight ends. Yeah.
And neither one.
Do you get the rest of the Seahawks side? You got Metcalf, Lockett.
I just blew right past them.
Oh, you blew right past them.
These are no-brainers. Start them.
Metcalf, Lockett, Russell Wilson. Start those guys, please.
I got them. You just weren't listening.
Okay, all right. Next matchup, we got Bengals at the Steelers. This will be a pretty big little matchup right here. Big little. You like that?
It's a pretty big little matchup. AFC North showdown.
Showdown in Motown. Steeltown, actually.
It's not Motown.
That ain't Motown. That's Steeltown. So on the Bengals side of the ball, Joe Burrow, it's kind of a it will be a tough test for him, but I think you can still start Joe Burrow. I think they're going to have to try and keep up with the Steelers. The Steelers are going to be scoring on the Bengals. That's my prediction anyways. Mm-hmm. So start Joe Burrow, start Tyler Boyd. Joe Mixon still not practicing, so if he sits out, start up Gio Bernard. AJ Green could possibly be an option as well, along with T. Higgins. All three of those guys, I feel the most confident about Boyd. And then probably go Boyd, Higgins, Green for me if I were to, if I had to rank them. And then on the Steelers side of the ball, Ben Roethlisberger had a knee injury last week, but he said he'll be fine and he'll play. So start him up with confidence, along with James Conner had a really bummer week. Like, I don't know what happened, but
was like a smash matchup.
Yeah. I'm gonna chalk it up to just being kind of a fluke game, and I'm still starting up James Conner.
Killed me in DFS.
Yeah, Eric Ebron has a great matchup here. Start up Eric Ebron in your tight end slot, and then all the wide receivers, Juju, Deontay Johnson, and Claypool. I think you can start all those guys pretty confidently.
Yep, I agree. Good stuff. Next one, we got the San Francisco 49ers going up against the New Orleans Saints. And if the Saints play anything like they did against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, you don't want to start any 49ers.
Yeah, no kidding.
Honestly, you may not want to anyway. It sounds like Deebo Samuel likely isn't going to be going again for this matchup. Not sure of Jordan Reed's status, but he was very limited last week, didn't do much with Kittle out. Brandon Ayuk, start Brandon Ayuk. But Nick Mullins, I'm definitely staying away from Nick Mullins, especially if you're in a 1 QB league.
Unless you need a quarterback, don't start.
Yeah,
Mullins,
exactly.
Please.
And most likely, if you need a quarterback, you're in a super flex or a 2 QB league, and that's about it. But for the running backs, it sounds like it's just going to be Jerick McKinnon and JaMychal Hasty again. Good luck.
Good luck deciding who gets the work.
Whoever Kyle Shanahan is saying is going to get good amount of work or whatever, start the opposite one.
I guess.
Start the other one, because I'll tell you what, JaMychal Hasty killed me last week. So
it's another one of those backfields, if you can avoid, I would try to avoid.
Exactly. It's just, frustrating. On the Saints side of the ball, starting Michael Thomas, I think you can start Emmanuel Sanders as well. He's been getting quite a bit of looks there. Jared Cook, start Jared Cook up. Alvin Kamara, obviously, starting him up.
Oh, yeah. No brainer.
And desperation flex, Latavius Murray. That's kind of just what he's been all season. You know what I mean? So
Emmanuel Sanders.
I said Emmanuel Sanders, Traquan Smith.
Not really.
Yeah,
I'll stay away.
Staying away from Traquan Smith in this one with Michael Thomas back now. Drew Brees.
I get just.
You felt great about starting him against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
Although we would have recommended to veer away from Brees against the Buccaneers.
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is that he had a stellar game, and it was 22 points. It wasn't terrible, but it wasn't.
No,
it's not week changing, I guess. So I don't know.
The Niners defense is not the Buccaneers defense either. So
it's not. No, it's not.
I think you can feel all right about Brees.
All right, next matchup, we got Ravens at the Patriots. This could just be a
knockout, drag out.
A knockout, drag out. Hardly no points scored in this game. On the Ravens side of the ball, Lamar Jackson, you're starting him up. Mark Andrews, you probably don't have a better tight end option than Mark Andrews. You have to start up Mark Andrews and hope everything goes well. Marquise Hollywood Brown, I have heard people talking about dropping Hollywood Brown just because Lamar has just been horrible throwing the ball this year.
It's been bad. It has. It's Marquise he's been getting looks, but just not catchable looks.
It's just been terrible. Lamar has been
brutal,
off
man,
with all of his throws. It's been rough to watch. So if you need a dart throw, Marquise, you could start him up, but I'm not starting up any other wide receiver.
Marquise just in the vein of those one-touch guys.
The running backs, Mark Ingram, I think he returned yesterday, but then I saw that he was sat out practice again today.
Yeah, he missed practice today.
So maybe he aggravated something, but
keep an eye on it.
Keep an eye on that. And
I think you can feel good about flexing Gus Edwards, J.K. Dobbins if he doesn't play, though.
yeah, I mean, I would be, I'd probably feel all right putting either one of those into my flex. Patriots side of the ball, man, I know Jacoby Myers had a great game last week.
I'm not.
I know
trusting
Cam
it.
had a great game
against
last
this
week.
Ravens defense, particularly.
And I know
Not trusting it.
Burkhead had a good game as well. I'm not trusting anyone. Really. Not against the Ravens D.
I'm not touching anybody on the Patriots.
Pivot if you can, folks.
Yeah, for real. All right, the Monday night game, we've got Minnesota Vikings versus the Chicago Bears in a divisional knockout dragout game. Here, the Bears defense has been pretty great, but that does not deter you from Dalvin Cook.
No, it does not. You start him with confidence.
Absolutely start Dalvin Cook. You're starting Adam Thielen, starting Justin Jefferson. But in the same time, staying away from Kirk Cousins here. And then the tight ends, the Bears actually give up a little bit to the tight ends. So if you don't have better options, Irv Smith, I would probably be willing to take a gamble on, but I'm not feeling fantastic about it.
He had 2 catches for 2 touchdowns last week.
I know.
I mean, that is
I know.
as fluky as fluke gets.
So I mean, like I said, you're not feeling great about it, but
not- yeah.
the Bears kind of do give up some to the tight end position. Bears side of the ball, Ryan Wrecking Null. I mean, if you desperation flex play, the Vikings do not have a very good defense. Starting up Allen Robinson.
watch his knee injury.
Yeah.
Designation.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's true. Keep an eye on that. Darnell Mooney, flex him.
Could be.
That guy's been getting
Darnell.
good target share, man. Darnell Mooney. Start Jimmy Graham in the tight end position. I mean, he's getting it. He's getting it done. He's getting it done.
He is. It's ugly, but he's getting it done.
And then Nick Foles.
Yeah.
If you're in a super flex, you can consider him in the super flex spot there, going up against this Minnesota secondary. So that'll do it for the speed preview there, Alex.
I like it.
Jackpot matchup of the week, Buffalo Bills and the Arizona Cardinals. Let's get into Hot Prop and Lock It in yet another exhibition week between you and I, because I didn't get the over-unders to Matt there. My bad.
Oh my goodness.
It's okay. I'm gonna screenshot stuff and I'm gonna send it to him right after we're done here.
Do that.
Goodness. Anyway, just too much going on, and it spaced my mind right until midway through the morning games. Anyway, Hot Prop and Lock It brought to you by our friends at Thrive Fantasy. Hashtag prop up with Thrive Fantasy. Use the code Fantasy Chairmen or simply just Chairmen, CHAIRMEN, and they will match up to $50 on your first deposit of $20 or more. Thrive Fantasy, fun fantasy prop game to play on Sundays.
Oh yeah.
Get in there, get your friends, invite your friends, tell them to use the promo code Fantasy Chairman or Chairman,
You get some free money for that.
and get that deposit matched so that you can play more games.
Yeah.
It's great. It's great. Get in there, hashtag prop up, Thrive Fantasy, Hot Prop and Lock It, Alex. And last week, between you and I, exhibition, man, I wish I would have got it to Matt too, because I would have overtaken you.
Well, you would have
I would have
gained.
been-
You would have gained.
Would I have gained? I'm two behind. I would have tied you. I would have tied up with you this week. Gosh dang it. All right, so Christian McCaffrey, 75.5 rushing yards. You said over, I said under. I got that one correct. He had 69 rushing yards. He had quite a few. I think he had like 60-some-odd receiving yards, or maybe even more than that.
Yeah. Lots of dump offs.
Tua Tagovailoa, 20.5 completions. Both of us said the over on this one, and he had 20.
Barely.
So it was the under.
Oh.
20 completions from Tua. And then Antonio Gibson, both of us expecting quite a bit more from Antonio Gibson coming off the bye here. The line was set at 70.5 rushing plus receiving yards. We both said over, and I believe he ended up with 55 total yards.
That's right.
Dang it. DK Metcalf, this was a smash over. DK Metcalf, 3.5 receptions in our jackpot matchup of the week.
Oh, yeah.
Both of us smashed the over. He had 7 receptions.
Too easy.
Literally doubled the line. And then Deshaun Watson, 284.5 passing yards. This was a good line here, too. You said over, and I said under. He threw 281 passing yards, so I ended up getting you on that one. Last week in this exhibition, Hot Prop and Lock It, I got 3, you got 1. So, moving into week 10.
Week 10.
You ready for this? I think you started last week, so I'll go first on this one. All right. First one here, we've got Robbie Anderson at 4.5 receptions.
Going up against the Buccaneers.
The Buccaneers. I'm thinking Tom Brady comes out ready to set the world ablaze and probably going to put up quite a bit of points against the Panthers here. The Buccaneers do have a good defense, but Robbie Anderson's going to get some targets. I think he's going to catch more than 4.5 receptions here.
I will say the over as well.
All right.
Fun fact for you here, by the way. Robbie Anderson has only caught 5 or less balls one time.
Okay. That's good to
Week
know.
6, he caught 4 balls.
Very nice. All right, next one. You're up first on this one. We've got Kyler Murray, 295.5 rushing plus passing yards.
In our jackpot
This
matchup?
is the jackpot matchup of the week.
You got to go over, man.
Oh, man.
Of course.
You got to smash the over.
To. It's going to be a score fest.
Kyler Murray, 295.5 rushing plus passing yards. He had over 100 rushing yards last week. So, this is our jackpot matchup of the week. I think it's going to be a score fest. I'm also taking the over on Kyler Murray there. This is another one from the jackpot matchup of the week here, man. Stephon Diggs, 82.5 receiving yards, going up against the Arizona Cardinals. Probably going to be lined up against Pat Pete.
That's the one little stipulation there
in this one. I'm still giving Stephon Diggs the over. I think the Bills are going to ride the fire, and they're just going to continue coming out to just set the world ablaze.
Man, I think I'm going to go the under right here.
Oh, okay. I was thinking maybe this might be the contrarian.
It might, yeah. I mean, I hope that's not true because I have Stephon Diggs in the big league, and I hope he goes off. So we'll see.
You going under?
I'm going under.
Okay. I didn't click out of it yet, so I allowed you time.
I need to switch.
No switchies. All right, well, I don't know. I was thinking Darrell Henderson I must have misread the update earlier or something. I was thinking Darrell Henderson. They said he's likely going to play. I have the line here. Darrell Henderson, 70.5 rushing plus receiving yards, going up against the Seattle Seahawks. I can change this one if you would like, or we can just roll with it. It sounds like he's going to play, right?
We can roll with it, I guess, and if he gets, I don't know. It's up to you. If he doesn't play, then we just don't count it.
Yeah, we'll do that. If he doesn't play, we just won't count. I thought I saw that he was going to be good to go, so I don't know if I misread or whatever.
Here, let me courtesy of Sleeper here. Let me give the most recent
courtesy of Sleeper. If you're not playing fantasy football on Sleeper, you're doing it.
What are you doing?
Wrong.
What are you doing?
Hashtag not a sponsor. We just really like Sleeper.
Darrell Henderson officially limited Thursday. Limited participants as Henderson's now logged back-to-back practices coming off a Week 9 bye, but according to Jordan Rodriguez of The Athletic, Coach Sean McVay fully expects a second-year running back to suit up versus Seattle on Sunday. Okay, well, I think we should feel safe about it, apparently.
Let's do it, all right. 70.5 rushing plus.
I thought he didn't practice Wednesday, but maybe
receiving yards. What say you?
Under.
Go in the under on.
I think they're going to spread it.
Darrell Henderson. Yeah, I got to do the same thing.
Especially dealing with a nagging injury.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a messy backfield situation. And if Sean McVay is smart, which I have it on good authority, Sean McVay is pretty smart. They saw what the Buffalo Bills did to that Seattle secondary, and he's going to let Jared Goff uncork it.
We'll see.
If you're smart, McVay.
We'll see.
And I've heard you're pretty smart. So we'll see. All right, and our last one here, we've got Drew Brees, 23.5 completions.
Under.
20. Well, geez, you didn't even let me go. All right, man. Going up against the Niners.
I don't think he's going to have to throw that much, honestly.
I'm with you. I got to take the under on that one as well. I don't think he's going to have to throw that much either. We've got one contrarian there in Stephon Diggs, so hopefully, even if I can't catch Alex this week, hopefully our over-unders can help you out there. If you're following along and you're playing Thrive Fantasy this Sunday, these are actual lines in the lineups for Sunday's games. So hopefully our over-unders will help you if you're going through and you're setting a lineup on Thrive Fantasy. If you're hashtag propping up with us right now,
Prop up, baby.
then we want to help you win.
We want to help you prop it up.
Download Thrive Fantasy in the App Store or the Google Play Store today, or visit their website, www.thrivefantasy.com. That's Hot Prop and Lock It. I'm going to screenshot this. I'm going to send it to Matt. I'm going to get those over-unders.
Don't show him our results.
I'm not going to show him the results. Don't worry about that. And that'll do it for today's episode. It's week 10 of the NFL season.
Let's get it.
Let us know how you're feeling just about having football for 10 weeks. I love it. You can find us on social media, on Twitter, at Chairman Fantasy, at FindFFLeagues, and at Fantasy Squatch. You can also find us on Instagram, at Fantasy Chairman Pod.
Ooh.
So there you go.
Yes, you can.
There you go. Download, listen,
Rate and review.
rate, review, all the good stuff.
It helps us as a podcast quite a bit, and we appreciate it.
We really do appreciate it. We just want to bring you guys a good, fun fantasy football experience. You know, we're laid back. We're relaxed. We're doing the best we can. We just love talking fantasy football.
We're just like y'all.
Fanalists. We're not experts.
No, we are not.
We're just trying to give you the best advice that we possibly can.
We're just talking to people.
That's right. Fantasy Chairman Podcast.
Podcast.
It's the Fantasy Chairman Podcast here. Peace out.
Podcast?
I don't know what I was doing. Podcast?
You're better than that!
Thanks, Rocky. Goodbye. Hey, Alex.
What?
So when you're on a boat and you're on like a rocky ocean, you know, and you're drifting out to sea, what's the best way to keep your boat like sturdy and just staying still?
Oars?
No, not even close. You throw out your anchor.
Oh, your anchor. Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
You throw out your anchor. You know what I like to do to keep my podcast steady and just sturdy while everything else seems to be rocky and wavy around me?
Not oars, right?
Not oars. It's Anchor again.
Oh, okay.
That's right. Anchor.fm. Let me explain. This app is free, completely free to host your podcast on.
Like 100% free?
100% free. And you get unlimited storage for all your episodes.
Unlimited?
Unlimited.
Unlimited.
As Russell Wilson would say.
Yes.
That's right. It's also got creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer.
Well, I'm all about that.
I know. And it also distributes your podcast for you, so it can be heard on the likes of Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Google Podcasts, all of them.
What's not to like?
It's great. You can even make money from your podcast, Alex.
And we're all about that.
And you don't need minimum listenership. So,
That's
I mean, that's a real good thing. It's everything you need to make a podcast all in one place. You need to download the free Anchor app today or go to anchor.fm to get started.
I'm getting right on it right now.
Keep your boat and your podcast sturdy.